And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com is where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the station at 909-545-6516. Again, that number is 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, today, my expert contributor is Suzette Mailer with her ongoing series, the IFAV Travel Corner, and my special guest, Sean Lefebvre. He's going to be talking healthcare on his series, Geared for Wellness. Now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 83 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's on its way down to 63 degrees, and I can't hardly wait for that to happen. That'll be nice news. But right now, you know what? You've been waiting for the news. I've been waiting for the news. So let's get us into the news. And we've got lots of it for today, so let's get right to it. You know what? First up, just in 10 minutes ago, Tennessee shooter's uncle is detained in Jordan. An uncle of the man who killed 4 Marines and a sailor in Tennessee has been in custody in Jordan since a day after the attacks on 2 military sites, a lawyer said just today. Abed al-Qadir Ahmad al-Khatib told the Associated Press that he was barred from seeing his client and that family members were also prevented from visiting the detainee. Computers and cell phones were taken from the man's home, but he has not been charged with anything, the attorney said. Al-Khatib identified his client as Asad Ibrahim Asad Haj Ali, a maternal uncle of the Chattanooga attacker, Mohammed Yosef Aziz, I guess it is. A Jordanian official said today that he is sure the uncle and other relevant people in Jordan were being questioned, but he would not elaborate or confirm that the uncle was detained. He spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to discuss the case with the media. Abdulaziz is what it is, spent several months in Jordan last year under a mutual agreement with his parents to help him get away from drugs, alcohol, and a group of friends they consider to be a bad influence, according to the person close to his family. That person also spoke on condition of anonymity out of the concern it would have in business repercussions. You know, it keeps going on and on and on, right? You never know what's going to actually go on with those kinds of things. But here's one for you that you're going to find interesting. This came in today. Clinton is besting Bush, Rubio in Florida money race. Here's the deal. Florida's presidential primary is 9 months away. Out of the state's influential donors are already speaking with their wallets. So far, the news is better for Jeb Bush than for Marco Rubio in the Republican money race between home state heavyweights, but it's even better for Democrat Hillary Rodham Clinton. Former Governor Bush's campaign drew nearly $1 million more than Senator Rubio's, and in 2 months less time, according to the Associated Press analysis of Federal Election Commission records that most presidential candidates filed last week, they cover fundraising activities from April through the end of June, but Bush didn't join the race until June the 15th. In all, Florida donors wrote checks totaling more than $8.6 million to the major Democratic and Republican presidential candidates, according to the Associated Press review of all donors who listed addresses in Florida and gave more than $200. That represents more than 10% of the nationwide total of donations over $200 reported last week by presidential candidates, and offers one window into which candidates have an early advantage in the high-profile swing state. Clinton, one of 16 candidates included in the analysis, grabbed more than one-third of all Florida cash, about $3 million. Bush's campaign raked in at least $2.6 million. Rubio's collected almost $1.8 million. The numbers may be dry, but their impact can be large. Boy, let's see what happens after that. Well, you know what? We can't have a news session without talking about the Donald. This came in 30 minutes ago. Trump GOP feud escalates after a rival goes after him. Donald Trump pushed back even harder today against Republicans fed up with his provocations, disclosing one opponent's cell number in a fiery speech and lashing out at an influential newspaper as part of an in-your-face escalation of the feud. Fellow GOP presidential contender Senator Lindsey Graham called him a jackass, only to see floods of Trump supporters jam his phone line after Trump read Graham's number to the audience. Trump is now at odds with much of the Republican establishment after a series of incendiary comments, topped by his weekend mocking of Arizona Senator John McCain's experience as a tortured prisoner of war in Vietnam. Since then, the real estate developer and reality TV host has intensified his criticism of McCain and his record on veterans issues in the Senate, even as politicians from both parties and veterans groups have rushed to McCain's defense. In a speech to hundreds of supporters in Bluffton, South Carolina, on today, Trump kept on McCain, accusing him of being soft on illegal immigration. He's totally about open borders and all this stuff, Trump said. McCain sparked Trump's temper last week when the senator said the businessman's inflammatory remarks about Mexican immigrants had brought out the crazies. McCain said today he would no longer respond to Trump's comments. You know, probably a good thing. Now, Graham, a McCain friend and one of the 16 notable Republicans running for the presidential nomination, betrayed the growing exasperation and anger of many in the party when he appeared earlier on CBS This Morning. Don't be a jackass, Graham said. Run for president, but don't be the world's biggest jackass. Well, you can say that again. You know, they just keep going at it, right? That's all I can say. Well, here we go. Back in just 17 minutes ago, Congress pursues legislative changes following a peer shooting. Urged on by anguished testimony from a father of a murder victim, Congress plunged into a heated debate over immigration today as GOP lawmakers vowed to shut down funding for so-called sanctuary cities like San Francisco that should shield immigrants from deportation by federal authorities. Immigrant advocates denounced the approach, accusing Republicans of following presidential candidate Donald Trump in demonizing Latinos. But after 32-year-old Catherine Steinel was shot this month, allegedly by an immigrant with a criminal record and without legal status, even some Democrats were calling for action to address the ineffective tangle of federal and local laws and politics that left the man on the street. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk more about what's in the news. I'm going to talk to you about Ohio Governor John Kasich, and he brings the Republican field to 16. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, when we left, we were talking about the news, and let's get right back into it. Just as I promised you, Ohio Governor John Kasich brings the Republican field to 16. This came in 1 hour ago. Saying big ideas change the world, Ohio Governor John Kasich declared his candidacy for the Republican nomination today and pitched his well-rounded resume to voters who have a multitude of high achievers to size up. Kasich, 63 years old, launched his campaign at Ohio State University before a crowd of about 2,000 people at an event making the entry of a strong-willed and sometimes abrasive governor in a nomination race now with 16 notable Republicans. I am here to ask you for your prayers, for your support, for your efforts, because I have decided to run for president, Kasich said in a scattered 43-minute speech packed with family anecdotes, historical references, and calls for national renewal. A veteran congressman as well as governor, Kasich is telling voters he is the only GOP candidate with experience in three broad areas of political leadership: the federal budget, national security, and state government. He also spent nearly a decade at Lehman Brothers. I have the experience and the testing, he said, the testing which shapes you and prepares you for the most important job in the world, and I believe I know how to work and help restore this great United States. As budget chairman in the House, he became an architect of the deal in 1997 that balanced the federal budget. Now, in his second term in swing state Ohio, he's helped erase a budget deficit projected at nearly $8 billion when he entered office, boost Ohio's rainy day fund to a historic high, and seen private sector employment rebound to its pre-recession levels. This through budget cutting, privatization of parts of Ohio's government, and others, often business-style innovations. We didn't really have to slash things, Kasich said of the budget squeeze. We just had to use the 21st century formula. Well, we'll see what happens. He's in the race. Let's see what they say about it, right? Now, time will tell. Well, world mayors at the Vatican urge a bold climate agreement. This came in just 2 hours ago, folks. Mayors from around the world declared today that climate change is real, it's man-made, and must be stopped as a matter of moral imperative, gathering at the Vatican to announce new measures to fight global warming and bask in Pope Francis's ecological star power. The Vatican invited the 60 mayors to a 2-day conference to keep up pressure on world leaders ahead of UN climate negotiations in Paris later this year. The meeting also aimed to promote Francis's environmental encyclical, which denounced what he calls a fossil fuel-based world economy that exploits the poor and destroys the earth. One by one, the mayors lined up to sign a final declaration stating that human-induced climate change is a scientific reality and its effective control is a moral imperative for humanity. Francis told the gathering that he had a lot of hope that the Paris negotiations would succeed, but also warned the mayors, "You are the conscience of humanity." Well, we'll see what happens. Not all of humanity seems to be agreeing on what's going on, but the majority of scientists certainly do. We'll see what happens. Well, also in today, bombing shows Turkey a vulnerable target for Islamic State. Officials have raised concerns that a deadly bombing in southeastern Turkey is part of a campaign of retaliation by the Islamic State group for a recent crackdown on its operations in the country. If they're right, Turkey would be a particularly vulnerable target for the extremists. The country shares a 1,250-kilometer, it's about 775-mile border with Iraq and Syria, putting it nearby to strongholds of the self-proclaimed Islamic State. As recent arrests show, the extremist group already has established its reach into Turkey. In an intensified crackdown, Turkish officials say they have obtained or detained more than 500 people suspected of working with IS in the last 6 months. An operation this month netted 21 terrorism suspects in an investigation of recruitment networks in multiple parts of the country, the official said. The move suggests an attempt to dismantle an entrenched presence inside Turkey, and authorities fear that yesterday's bombing in the town of Surik that killed 32 people and wounded nearly 100 is a warning by the extremists against such a campaign. This attack was against Turkey, against Turkey's democracy, against the peace and welfare of our people, against public order, Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu said after the attack that officials called a suicide bombing. He vowed to go after those behind the bombing and made clear he believes it was the Islamic State. Well, seems like the Islamic State is reaching out everywhere these days, right? And maybe the way for us to get rid of this domestic terrorism is to take a look at how Turkey is doing it, because they're actually catching people. We're not getting them until after they're done doing this stuff. Well, 2 hours ago, more trouble than jobs at economic agency Walker championed. After declaring an economic emergency, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker's newly created Economic Development Agency backed a plan to turn dirty plastic forks and ketchup-stained napkins into jobs. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation awarded $1.2 million in grants and loans in 2011 and 2012 to Greenbox NA, Green Bay LLC, a company that said it could produce recycled products, electricity, and even diesel from fast food waste. Governor Walker and I are firmly committed to doing everything possible to expedite the processing and awarding of this incentive award, then Agency Chief Executive Paul Jaden wrote in a September 2011 letter to Greenbox. There were warning signs. Greenbox told the state that the company and its founder, Ron Vandenhoevel, had no recent legal troubles, but court records showed that Vandenhoevel had been sued 27 times in the prior 5 years by banks, business partners, state tax officials, and even a jeweler. Greenbox said it held 7 patents, but the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office lists no patents granted or assigned to Vandenhoevel or the company. So we'll see what happens with that, right? Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case is a farmer's profit motive makes losses deductible. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? It just sends chills up and down my spine. I don't know what it does for you, but it does for me. It sends chills up and down my spine, and I can't hardly wait to tell you about the cases we've got today. Right off the top is a farmer's profit motive makes losses deductible. Where did you get this one? Now, Barry Mullins was a successful business owner who grew up on a farm and wanted to return to owning one. He bought a cattle farm and, after semi-retiring, lived and worked on it. The farm incurred steady losses. The IRS said that these losses showed it was not being run for profit, but to shelter income that Mullins had received from his business, and disallowed his loss deductions as a result of that. So he went to court, and this is what the court said. Mullins worked 50 hours a week on the farm, moved to a primitive home located on it to be there to work, consulted with experts, and repeatedly changed farming strategies to improve profitability. And all of this indicated that he did have a profit motive, so his losses were deductible, and they reversed the order of the IRS. Now, you just got to love that kind of stuff, right? I know I do. How about this? The IRS loses. President in name only is not liable for a company's unpaid taxes. Now, this is going to make sense to you in a minute. Ellen Marino was the president of a lending company founded by her son, but the business was run by her live-in companion, who was ineligible under state law to be an officer of the company because of his past credit problems. Now, any tasks that Ellen performed for the company, she did under his direction. When the company fell behind on its payroll taxes, the IRS contacted her, and she informed her companion. Eventually, the IRS assessed $76,000 in personal liability against her for the unpaid taxes. So, of course, they went to court to see what the heck was going on. This is what the judge said. Marino had no real authority over the company's finances, so she was not responsible nor liable for those taxes. You know what? Sometimes common sense does prevail, doesn't it? That's exactly what you would expect anyway. Let me give you one more case here. The IRS loses. They can't seize winnings. One player wins for another. Here's the story. Robert Whitlatch devised a system of winning video lottery jackpots. It required playing the same machine for many hours, so he hired Paul Kovach to play a machine for him and gave Kovach all the funds that were going to be wagered. When Kovach hit a jackpot, Whitlatch claimed it, but both the casino and IRS said it was payable to Kovach, the actual player. The IRS then tried to take the entire jackpot to settle Kovach's back tax debts. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. Neither the state gaming law nor the casino's published rules barred one person from playing for another. So the winnings are Whitlatch's, who also collects interest from the IRS for his delay in collecting those winnings. And you know what? And that's exactly what you would expect to have happen. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. Well, that's what we're talking about right now when we talk about inside the IRS. You know, and the first case that we're going to talk about inside the IRS is beware of legal advice from sellers of tax shelters. You know, a lawyer in Louisiana was held responsible for his part in promoting tax shelter investments that he knew, or at least should have known, were illegal. Now, the lawyer engaged in wire and mail fraud as part of a scheme to generate exorbitant fees by selling phony tax shelters. The defrauded investors paid more than $1 million in fees for the privilege of investing in the illegal tax shelter. And is there a self-defense here? Here's the only one. Do not ever trust the advice of a lawyer who stands to profit from your investment. Seek independent counsel not associated with the transaction. That is the only self-defense you have. It's the only self-defense you are going to get. That's just the way that it's going to be. So, keep that in mind when you're doing these things. Let me give you another one. To understand how the IRS interprets the tax law. Ever wonder? Well, the IRS begins the interpretation process by issuing regulations, proposed, temporary, and final. Additional guidance is provided by revenue rulings, private letter rulings, field service advice, notices, actions on decision, technical advice memoranda, and audit guidelines. Now, for details on each of these, visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov. Now, ultimately, the validity of the IRS's view of the law is tested in court cases. Sometimes the IRS is found to be right, and it wins. Other times, its interpretation is found to be inconsistent with the intent of Congress, which drafted the law. What course to follow? Read professional publications and law-reviewed articles. An internet search will help you find these things right away to help you decide how to proceed in regard to a specific tax issue or retain a knowledgeable tax professional. That's what you're always going to want to do. Now, let me give you one more. Mortgage defaults in the IRS. Cancellation of debt, they call it COD, is going to be a real concern for many taxpayers who've defaulted on their home mortgages. The bank holding the mortgage is required to file with the IRS Form 1099-C. That's cancellation of debt, reflecting the amount of cancellation of debt that was required to be reported on your tax return as income. Now, here's a tax trap. That cancellation of debt income amount may include unpaid principal, accrued interest, penalties, and attorney fees. So there's a loophole here. If you are insolvent under state law, that means your liabilities exceed your assets. When you default, the amount of cancellation of debt is not considered income. So always, always, always talk to that licensed professional. You'll be glad that you did. Now, do not go away, because coming up, waiting in the wings, is our own Sean LaFave with his Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll see what Sean wants to talk about when he gets here in about 3 minutes. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:34 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 83 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I'm waiting. You're waiting. He's waiting. Let's get him in here and find out what we're going to talk about for the next 30 minutes.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. And, right off the bat, there's a lot of stuff in the news. They're talking about global warming and a big meeting at the Vatican and all these scientists. It seems like a proliferation of scientists all agree that global warming is something that was caused by humanity and that humanity has a responsibility to fix it for the rest of humanity that is yet to come, or the younger ones that are already here. You got a position on that at all? What's the matter, Sean?
Good to see you too, Robert.
Huh?
I don't have much of a position on. To be honest with you, I think that global warming, have we caused something? I'm sure we have, but so
you don't believe global warming is a reality?
Well, I believe it may be a reality, but I also believe that the world goes through cycles. We have times when we go through droughts. I mean, did we cause the Great Depression and the major drought back then? Well, we didn't cause the depression, but did we cause the drought? We didn't cause the drought, but how do you know if this isn't just a cyclical thing? I honestly have not paid enough attention to it to really make an informed
Well, the only reason,
decision.
you know what, and I understand that, and I'm not going to pressure you on it, because my position is that I'm just not as smart as the world scientists are, and if 80% of the world scientists are saying, no, it really exists, and it's our fault because we're abusing the planet, I have a tendency to probably want to believe them. But other than that, bees are in the news again.
Oh, great. Well, that I actually know more about. But I agree with you. If we're causing it, yeah, we need to fix it. But good luck with that. It's like, I tell you what, this week's been a weird week for me. I've been, and it's only Tuesday, but I've been doing a lot of research on mercury because of just some things that actually a new client that I got. But it's scary stuff, So I'm still one of these ones that's a bit skeptical. You say, well, 80% of the scientists. Well, I can tell you that 80% of scientists or doctors or dentists or whatever may say one thing, but the facts kind of don't lend themselves to that. And it's really you've got to go, yeah, well, what's going on here? Well, it's whenever there's money involved, that's what I want to know with this whole global warming thing is. Where's the money in this that drives this agenda?
The money isn't in it for fixing it. The money is in it for not fixing it.
Well, exactly. And if we keep telling everybody that global warming, we did it, well, then we're going to have to buy better cars that are more electric, and we're going to have to buy or come up with ways to produce cleaner energy, which those are all good things.
Well, Sean, there's no question about that, but cars are just a single-digit cause of this.
Yeah. It's huge, and they even they even say that cows, the cow flatulence has contributed to global warming.
Hey, now wait a minute, that was raised on a dairy. You can't be blaming anything on cows.
Well, you know what? There's some people who want to. And I think if it was the nice, pretty green pastures of the cows that, just get to roam around and eat grass all day, it probably isn't them. But
well, here's the deal. If guys like you that don't believe in 80% of scientific research would stop feeding these cows those doggone beans, then the flatulence from the cows wouldn't be a problem.
Exactly. I agree. So, I don't know. Maybe the cows are part of the problem. But, that's another thing they say, well, if we would just cut down on our meat intake, not eat so much beef, we wouldn't have a problem with the cows farting all the time. And,
I'm going to show you. I'm going to sew your lips shut. Shame on you.
Well, you know me. I like a good steak. So, that's just the thing with global warming. We want to eat steak and we want to drive cars. And we don't want to drive a car with 3 other people in it. We want to drive a great big 4-wheel drive truck all by ourselves. That's the American way. We want something. Electric cars are cool, especially now the Tesla out here.
Well,
in
now
California,
you're showing your patriotism. That's the way we want you to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, you got to be a true American. Have everything bigger than the rest of the world, and let some other country fix global warming. I think that's probably the attitude, and so it's going to be. It's going to be a difficult fix. It's like I said this before. The future of this world doesn't look like Star Trek. It looks like Mad Max, in my opinion, if we keep doing what we're doing. But we'll pleasure ourselves into in a world that we can't live in. We're not going to destroy Earth. that's going to do fine. It'll recover, but we're going to destroy ourselves along the way.
Well, it's. I don't think we should destroy anything, and I think that whether it's our fault that the global warming is in existence or whether it's not, if we have the ability and the technology to actually improve the situation, then I think we have an obligation to do that for those human beings that are following us.
Right, exactly. And, you don't have to even go global warming. I used to go as L.A. smog. All right, let's do something. If you would do something about the smog in L.A., the global warming would just kind of follow suit. Of course, I love that I can get political on your show, and it always works out well. But like Obama, standing up, you can't stand in front of a group of military people and tell them, global warming is the greatest threat to America. Well, global warming just didn't kill 5 military guys last Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'd say Thursday?
Well, smog didn't kill them either.
Smog didn't kill him eiteither. No.
But I can tell you this.
You know what? The rebel flag didn't kill him. And gay marriage didn't kill him. There's a lot of things that didn't kill him.
Yeah.
It was the one thing that President Obama doesn't want to talk about. It's a political agenda. It's radical Islam.
You know what? And
unfortunately,
unfortunately, it's a political agenda for everyone. I mean, everybody has their own political agenda, regardless of what political affiliation you may belong to. And it really doesn't make any difference in this conversation, because the truth is everyone's got their own political agenda, and it's got nothing to do with the people that they're supposed to be helping. Let's go back to the smog thing for just a second. I have a pilot's license.
I was actually going to, so I'm glad you are.
You may or may not know that I have a pilot's license. And years ago, when I first started flying, I'm going to say it was in the 70s. When we would take off, they would call it smoke and haze. They wouldn't call it smog. They renamed it later. But when you'd get your weather reports from the tower before you take off, they'd tell you what the level of smoke and haze was. And generally, when you take off, you'd have to get to about 1,000, 2,000 feet before you could climb out of that smog layer, that inversion layer, and you could actually see it, that demarcation line, and it was kind of an ugly brownish color. And you get up in that fresh air, and it would be magnificent. Then when you come back down to land, you get back into that smog, and it tasted like bromide. It tasted horrible. Well, you know what? It wasn't very many years later that when you would go to take off, you'd get up to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. You'd get up to about 8,000 feet before you got above that smog level. Today, it's not that way. Today, it actually is much better in the Los Angeles basin, but it's still not good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, no, and it's not good. And I know that you mentioned last week, that living in L.A. is like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's an old statistic. Maybe it's only a pack and a half of cigarettes now, but it's still a simple thing. We don't have to focus on global warming is such a massive undertaking that I think 99.999% of us, myself included, can't really truly wrap our minds around. And I'm like, global warming, that's huge. That's.
Well, let me put it another way, and I agree with you. That's a huge thing. But if we were to say we're not going to do it simply because it's a gigantic challenge for us, then we wouldn't get anything done. There wouldn't be a cure for polio, and there wouldn't be some treatments for cancer. We would never have put a man on the moon and brought him back. We would never have gotten these pictures of Pluto up close and friendly. So all of these challenges that we say are insurmountable, if we would not even try them because of that fact, we would never have achieved anything.
And I agree with you. That's not a reason to not do it. But I think we can break it down. This is kind of how I approach healthcare too. You've got to treat the whole person, but you got to break it down into little steps. And right now, global warming is obviously a global problem. Well, in the United States, why don't we break it down even farther? Let California worry about Los Angeles, and let France worry about Paris, and
I've got the perfect solution to this. Right now the United States dollar is very quickly becoming the strongest currency again in the world, even against the euro and the and the pound. We're at a parity again. It's going to be a bargain for people to travel to Europe. So I'm thinking that most of the people here in the United States that are causing any kind of global warming ought to just take it on over to Europe and leave it there.
I went to Paris. I've only been to Paris once, and I've talked to so many people who say, oh, my gosh, Paris is a beautiful town. And I went there 25 years ago, and I tell you what, I didn't like it at all. It was a dirty city. I went to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and I looked out, and it literally reminded me of being in Los Angeles. All I could see was a city filled with smog. There was just smog everywhere. And people I talked to said that's how it used to be, but they've really cleaned it up, and it's not like that anymore.
And, I can attest to that. It isn't like that anymore. One of the reasons, and one of the reasons is really not a good reason, Sean. What a lot of people don't understand is the tax system in France, and the premier city, the single premier focused city in France is Paris. That's what creates most of tourism in France. And 75% of the tax base is attributed and placed into the city of Paris to have cleaned it up and make it beautiful and make it the city of lights and romance. And so the people that are talking to you are absolutely right. I mean, I'm not saying that other parts of France aren't beautiful, because it really is. But when you think of 75% of the tax base being spent in Paris for tourism, that's a big chunk. No wonder it looks so pretty today.
Yeah, it's a huge chunk because it brings in so much money. But yeah, and that's just it. There's, it's just human nature to not have the kind of self-control to. Most people aren't going to drive a Prius, because they know that it's the right thing to do. They want a bigger car. They want something that doesn't get quite the gas mileage, or, they're going to turn their lights on, or they're going to use their air conditioner. Speaking of, you asked me about that last week, and we had rain a couple of days ago, and so I've used my air conditioner the last couple of days. This humidity is exhausting. It's been so humid here.
Here too. And, when I've turned my air conditioner on, not so much because of the heat, because it's only 83 degrees out here. And I mean, that's not, I say only, but generally we have a dry heat and that would be nothing. But it's humid. It's 80% humidity out there, and that's a killer for guys my age.
Yeah, same thing with me. The humidity it wipes me out, and so I've got the air conditioner on right now. But could I just endure it and maybe sit in front of a fan instead? I could, but I really don't want to deal with it, and that's human nature. The only to stick like that is exactly what they did in Paris, and that's the tax. We're going to go on break. I don't know what we're going to talk about at this point when we get back. We can get back on the bees if you want. We can talk about mercury, or we can talk about apples.
Well, I think you're prepared. I think you're prepared to talk more about some more mercury. So and when I said about the bees, it was only because I saw that article and I shipped it off to you, and I thought you'd find it interesting. But you know what? Last week you left off talking about mercury, and we ought to talk about those metals and the effect that they have on people. So anyway, we're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness corner. We haven't, I guess we have talked about wellness in a different way, but when we come back, we'll see what Sean actually wants to send you a barrage and talk to you about. So don't go away. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness corner.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, you got the microphone. Since this is your segment, and I really took over that first one, I kind of blindsided you, but that's what I love about you. I can blindside you when you're not expecting it. You roll with the punches, and I just find that exhilarating, refreshing, and interesting. So I'm going to let you talk about whatever you want to talk about for the second half of your segment.
Well, it's fun stuff, and really, it's when it boils down to that whole thing about the smog is it is important. The global warming, it is important because really the things that we do to our local environment, to our larger environment, our world environment, affect our health. The things that we do to destroy our environment end up eventually destroying our health, as collectively as a society. So yeah, it is important, and I love rolling with that stuff. Matter of fact, we've got an extra day this week, don't we? So we can get sidetracked a little bit more. Yeah,
you know what? We got to just let everybody know that Sean is he's always here on Tuesday and Thursday, but Sean's going to be with us today, Thursday, and Friday this week. And so, this is going to be an exciting week. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little prejudiced. I love it when you're on.
Well, I appreciate that. I love being honest. That works out really well. But I'd say since Thursday was one of these days. I just had a lot going on Thursday, and there was everything from those Marines getting killed, and now it ended up being the Marines and one naval sailor. Mm-hmm. They're all recruiters, of course. So just some stuff just in general in our society, and then some things going on with other issues around me, and Thursday was a really overwhelming day for me. And so but I had some other stuff going on. So I started doing some research, and I was researching mercury, and specifically what it has to do with amalgam fillings. And of course I've been saying for years and years that these mercury fillings are just horrible for you, and it's they cause all kinds of health problems, and they are not safe, as the American Dental Association would love for you to believe. And I thought, I've read a bunch of stuff, but I've never collected data and real hardcore research and data. And I thought, certainly it's got to be out there. And so I started researching, and the fact is, it is there. And it amazes me how I'm reading this stuff, and a lot of it just seems to kind of get swept under the rug. And I found in my research over the weekend, I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday that I found it, and I've been pouring through this thing. It's a report of some research that was done in the 90s by the EPA. In fact, the research lasted for years. The whole document is written in memory of one of the scientists who worked on the project for a few years and died in 1994. And this research data was all put together and was presented to Congress in 1997, right? And in this research, they said, well, they kind of took the whole amalgam thing and kind of swept it under the rug a little bit, and they said, well, the greatest exposure that we can see is from methylmercury, which comes from fish. So the focus of this study is going to be on that. But they wanted this study to be all-inclusive, everything from any type of mercury exposure, whether it's people who work in mercury mines or dental fillings or whatever the case. They didn't really touch on vaccines, which I found to be interesting, and everything from even transporting it and storing it and the health effects that it has. And it goes on to talk about all these health effects. And what they did is, like I said, they said, well, right now we're focused on the methylmercury from fish, and it said in this report several times that more research is needed to have a better understanding of amalgam fillings and their effects on health or how much they off-gas and stuff. Oh, and by the way, this is an 8-volume report that has over 1,100 pages. So it's like this massive thing, right? And it was presented, but if you read through it, it says things like, it says, during and immediately following removal or insulation of dental amalgams, supplementary exposures of 1 to 5 micrograms for several days. So, it tells you exactly how much, but they also say that the amalgam fillings continue to produce mercury vapors for the life of the amalgam filling. So as long as that thing, this is a report from the EPA presented to Congress in '97, and it says that this stuff continues to off-gas to produce mercury vapors in your mouth for the rest of your life, and that things like hot temperatures and stuff like that will exacerbate it and produce even more. But even when you're sitting there,
so Sean, let me interrupt you for a second to make sure I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that those mercury vapors never wear out, never go away? That these amalgams continue to produce these mercury vapors that get into your system?
That's exactly right. Yes, and that's exactly what this report says, and that's exactly everything that I've ever read that is talking about the health problems associated with amalgam fillings. They all say that the stuff never. Like there's a video you can go on YouTube. If you really want to shock the hell out of yourself. It's called the smoking tooth video, and it's an older video. But they take a tooth that's been extracted from someone's mouth that has an amalgam filling in it, and then they put it with like a fluorescent type background so that you can see the vapors. And just holding it, you can see vapors. And if they rub it with a pencil eraser, it starts getting a ton of vapors. And then they heat it up a little bit, like as if you were drinking coffee, and it creates even more vapors. And you can see the mercury off-gassing from this stuff, and it's really scary. And you watch these videos, and you're like, okay, how do they do this? Maybe it looks worse than it really is. But then you've got this report from the EPA saying, nope, this stuff, it leaches into your mouth, and you're breathing it, and they say that the greatest exposure of mercury, or I'm sorry, the greatest intake of mercury is through inhalation. Well, we breathe through our mouths, so kind of the stuff in our mouths that's sitting there off-gassing is probably going to have a significant impact. And it's like 80 to 90% of the vapors that we breathe in stay in our body. They don't leave. However, they say it's about 7% of the stuff that you ingest into your stomach stays.
Okay, so let me stop you again and just ask you a question, and that is that at what point, and I don't know how to ask this question exactly, at what strength or what percentage of mercury, whether you get it by vapor or the metal or whatever's going on, at what point is it become toxic that it starts to harm you?
And I think that's kind of the $1 million question. And I'm still pouring through this thing. So I'm going to have, and I was going to say that later on, is I'm going to have some like actual real numbers of like how much, and we're talking micrograms, by the way, of mercury. We're not talking anything that you could see without a microscope. But I know that they say that one person they were talking about what was this lung disease. What cases? Oh, that's what it was. Oh, so this guy was taking. These people had acute levels of mercury exposure because one of the people in this house was smelting amalgam fillings, trying to get the silver out of it, and it was releasing all these vapors these mercury vapors in their house, and they had something like 245 micrograms per liter when they got to the hospital, I think was the number. And what ended up happening is all these people died from mercury exposure, from a very strong acute mercury exposure.
So it's a toxic poison to your body.
Well, it's extremely toxic, yeah. And that's what this thing goes on to say. Is it says, any exposure, the higher the exposure, the more likely it is to make you sick and or kill you. But even low levels of chronic exposure are going to have long-term health effects. And that's what this report is saying. And it's not ambiguous at all. It's very specific. And in the same report, they're talking about how the mercury from the amalgam fillings continues to vaporize and off-gas into your mouth, and you're breathing this stuff in. Of course, they want to focus, and I don't know if it's just that they got focused on methylmercury, because methylmercury is more toxic. The problem, though, with the amalgam fillings is an inorganic mercury, and it has inorganic mercury is really implicated in autoimmune stuff. But the problem, and this is what I'm surprised that so many of these reports don't get into. I wish someone would get into this more. I found a paper by a woman who is a environmental scientist at Johns Hopkins University, and she wrote a paper about how the gut, and this is something we've known for years, but how the gut takes the mercury and the inorganic mercury, and it methylates it and then demethylates it both, which makes it even worse. And now they talk about methylmercury. When you hear methylmercury, it's mercury that's been methylated, and a lot of times it happens in the ocean, the plankton, you've got all these bacteria, all those organisms that are able to methylate mercury. They also, a lot of them exist in our gut. We have more living organisms in our gut than we do cells in our entire body.
All right, so Sean, what does methylated mean? Because I know what mentholated is, but what is methylated?
Yeah, it's literally, it has a CH3 as a methyl donor that is bound to this, and it basically turns it into an organic.
So it becomes a compound
of mercury, and so now it's more bioavailable. It can get into your system more. So it becomes an organic form of mercury as opposed to inorganic, which is like an inert. I won't say inert, but it's more elemental. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Robert?
I'm here. Yeah, I
heard silence, and I thought.
You know what? I'm listening to what you're saying, so I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, okay. But that's the difference. Is methylmercury basically that's what they refer to as organic, and then inorganic is when it's not methylated. And your body can take inorganic stuff. They tell you the stuff in your teeth isn't dangerous because it's not methylmercury; it's inorganic mercury. But when your doctor or your dentist, cleaning your teeth or you're getting those things drilled out, you're breathing it in, but you're swallowing some of it. And when your body is toxic, it will dump toxins into the gut. Well, that gut is filled with all those wonderful bacteria that do all these good things, but they can also take that mercury and methylate it and turn it into organic. Now it's even more toxic than it was before. And
so it's actually supersized, like they would do it at McDonald's. If it's methylated, it's supersized.
Yeah, exactly. It's supersized. It's exactly what it is. And so, this report, I'm pulling through this report, and obviously I just got it a couple of days ago, so I'm still got a lot of reading to do. I mean, it's ridiculous. They get into the real big numbers, and they got all these equations and factors of 10 to the negative 4 and all these weird things, and I got to kind of figure out. I'm not that kind of I'm not a big numbers guy when it comes to stuff like that. So all these equations are written by people with probably 27 letters after their last name. Mm-hmm. So I sometimes I have to extrapolate, but the gist of it is they're saying in here straight up that amalgam fillings off-gas mercury for their entire life, and that mercury, even inorganic mercury, has significant health concerns for the general population. And what was this one here? I was just looking at this, that both fish consumption and the presence of mercury amalgam fillings resulted in measurable mercury in the urine. So they're already saying that this is an EPA report. Mercury amalgam fillings result in measurable mercury in the blood and in the urine. So we know this stuff's in our body. And my question is, why is this stuff still legal, and why are we still putting it in children's mouths? And I guess we're going to talk about that Thursday when we come back, because we're done for the day.
Well, you know what? I think it would be good to talk about this Thursday some more. And, a person doesn't understand that you're exposed to mercury through a lot of different places, not just the dentist and not just amalgams, some of the fish that we eat. So great segment, Sean. I especially loved the first segment.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We'll do that again. You find something that's blindside me again on Thursday, and we'll do it all over.
All right, my friend. Hey, you have a great couple of days. We'll talk to you on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it.
You bet, me too. Thanks, Robert.
All right, you take care.
Good. Bye-bye.
Now, do not go away, because coming up next is, I was going to say My Girl Friday, but it's actually Tuesday, and we've got some great news coming to you from Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:08 p.m. Pacific Time, currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, she's waiting in the wings, and I don't want to keep her waiting. She's got a brand new, I was going to say it's a brand new segment, but it's not really so brand new. She's been working on it for a while, but I'm really loving it, and that's the IFAB Travel Corner with Suzette Mailer. And you know what? Let's not waste any more time. I just got to know what Suzette's got on her mind. Wow, and we took off, and welcome aboard Suzette Mailer, my favorite girl. Actually, I've been told I can't call her a girl. I got to call her a woman. Suzette, welcome aboard.
Hi, Robert.
How are you? Listen,
I don't know if you've ever experienced the women's liberation.
You know, well, you know what?
You just Friday, and I'm your girl.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. I think in terms of you of being lively and spontaneous and articulate, and that comes from generally a young person that I would call a girl, and a woman is.
Good save, my friend. Good save.
Oh, thank you. That's what I was working for. That's what I was working on. Listen, I am so excited. I saw the work that you've been doing on your website and on your Facebook page. I just love it. Why don't you tell people about it a little bit?
Oh, well, I actually created a Facebook page finally, and it's you can reach it by my website just points to it at www.ifabtravel.com, and that would be fab as in fabulous. So if you can go to that site, it'll redirect you to the Facebook page, and you can read about the shows and listen to archived shows and see pictures and get some ideas for vacations and whatnot. So, do you know what last week we talked about Paris, we talked about Versailles, and today we're going to talk about the Loire Valley.
Oh, well, that's right. You said you were going to talk about the Loire Valley. You know, they make some apps. Not only is it beautiful in the Loire Valley, and not only are there lots of castles and things to look at, but their wine is just to die for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you visit some vineyards when you were there?
Oh, yeah. I never met a grape I couldn't cuddle up to, Suzette.
Yeah, it is beautiful out there. It's located in central France, and it is referred to as the Garden of France because of the abundance of vineyards and fruit orchards and artichoke and asparagus fields that line the banks of the river, and it is notable for its historic towns, architecture, and wines. So, and the climate was lovely. They say can get very hot there, but when we were there, I think we were probably there in I'm going to say July. I'm not sure. I mean, it's been a while, July or August. I think actually we crossed July and August. It was very pleasant. So.
You know what?
What time of year were you there?
Well, you know what? I've been to France almost every time of year there is to go, and I've been there when it was snowing, and I've been there when it was raining, and I've been there when the sun was out, and I've never been there that I haven't thoroughly loved it. I know it. The French have a good thing going there. Yeah. That's an understatement. You know,
so we drove to the Loire Valley from Paris, and farming is one of France's most important industries, and I found the visuals of French farming, the farming style is so different from American, and I found it in this regard. It's an art form, and it really is an art form, and it relies on God. And one thing that we noticed when we were off the major freeway veins to get there, we saw rows of crops that were planted right up to the edge of the property. It just nearly abuts a 2-lane country road. And I didn't know if you saw this, but the corner of the farm where at an intersection you can see a relief of Madonna and Child facing the road, there to give thanks, no doubt.
Well, you know what? They have monuments throughout France, not just the Loire Valley, but you're right. They have those there. And one of the things that struck my eye right away, and for those people that are not wine enthusiasts, they probably wouldn't notice so much. But when you're driving through the Loire Valley and you're driving by all those vineyards, if you look at the ends of all of those vines, the rows of vines, you're going to see the most beautiful roses that you've ever seen at the end of each.
Right, that's right. I remember that.
And the reason for that is that the vintners are looking at those roses to see if they're getting bugs or to see if they're getting diseased, and that's how they tell if their vineyard is going to be in trouble. But it is so beautiful to look at those roses. You don't think in terms of it actually being a method for these vintners to figure out what's going on with their grapes.
Brilliant and charming. What about the castles, the pleasure castles?
Oh, they're magnificent.
It's a fairy tale land of castles.
Oh, yeah. You know, I don't know if it's what I'm going to say is true or not. Marlene and I were just enthralled with all these castles, and we had to go visit as many as we could visit. They have more castles than you could possibly visit, but it was just exciting. And you say to yourself, on some of these, my God, you must have seen them in movies, because every director has got to be wanting to use this as a film site.
You know, it's interesting that you said that. There is an amusement park where they took a broken-down castle and turned it into, I am not pronouncing this correctly. It's been a while since I took French, but Puy du Fou. It's pronounced or spelled P-U-Y and then D-U, and then Fou, Fou, F-O-U. And it translates the hill of the beach, but it's a historical theme park in Les Espèces, and it is, I have to tell you, they put on shows. It's just a theatrical reenactments of, Lansing and
is it an outdoor or indoor
wars,
theater?
and it's an outdoor event. Let's see. I'm trying to find my notes on this. So this is not a park with rides like Disneyland, but rather a park with elaborate and spectacular theatrical scenarios, such as Viking battles, a Roman arena, a siege of a castle, 3 musketeers, and a hugely spectacular finale with incredible fireworks and lots of smaller shows. Great for kids, and it looks like they have hotels, probably themed hotels and food and whatnot. So that seems like something to be checked out if you're in the Loire Valley and you have time, and especially if you have. I think the Loire Valley is fabulous for kids. In fact, before this show is over, or my segment, I want to give a review on a castle that we stayed at.
Yeah, you know what? And so, I was just going to say to you, did you stay at one of the B&Bs or did you stay at one of the chateaus? Because the chateaus were just absolutely magnificent, and you can stay there because they rent out rooms.
Right. Actually, it's a B&B chateau that we stayed at, the Chateau Tenensu, I hope Tenensus, and it's just outside the city of Parthenay. It's not exactly in Loire, but it's, right on the fringe, just outside. But I'd like to give a review of that B&B. It's definitely worth it. So, what were some of the castles that you visited?
Well, you know what? I couldn't give you a name to save my soul. I've slept since then.
I will say, I don't you love the boxwood hedges?
Oh yeah.
At these some of these.
The meticulously manicured grounds of the chateaus. It's a place you don't want to leave. It's just like it's heaven on earth. It's just this magnificence that's there. You ever think about?
They have more rainfall than we have in Southern California, so watering is not an issue, and I think that helps the. And plus, I think the French, they don't go to Home Depot and buy mulch. They mulch everything themselves, and it's like a fairly closed system, and they just take their scraps and feed it back into put it back into the earth, and the earth gives back with these beautiful boxwood hedges and roses, and the hedges are cut in the most regal forms. Just
you ever
beautiful.
Daydream about the affluence and lifestyle of the people that lived in these things in the 17th and 18th centuries?
As a matter of fact, I do. We visited one castle. It was called Oiron, and that's pronounced O-I-R-O-N, Oiron. And it's again not exactly in Loire, but it's just on the fringe. The French Revolution saw a number of the great French chateaux destroyed. They ransacked and stole the treasures. So the interior of Oiron is without furniture, but what does remain are magnificent murals and woodwork and plasterwork and grand architecture. And but what my point is that there were no tourists there. We were by ourselves in this huge castle.
How lucky.
And I couldn't help but kind of pretend that this maybe belonged to me. It was kind of fun to be able to do that. And another reason why I found you could have that kind of imagination was because we seem to have access to every niche possible in that castle, including the attic. There were no locked doors.
Yeah, it's just a whole other world, you know. It's just so.
It is.
You can place yourself in that long gone era very easily, especially if you find yourself like you did in the solitude of being there, just you and Ray or you and Annalisa. It depends. You know, if you're there by yourself, you do start to think of, gee, what if I owned this? What would I do with it, right?
I know, or what was life like, or all these lucky people.
Well,
but they probably lost their heads.
We're talking to our own Suzette Mailer and the IFAB Travel Corner. When we come back, she's going to give you some contact information. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away. You don't want to miss this at all. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We're off to France in the Loire Valley with our own Suzette Mailer. And Suzette, you know what? You were talking about these magnificent chateaus, and one of the most exciting things is I'll never forget the first time I actually stayed in one of the older chateaus, and it was just so thrilling. I was so excited about it, and you're right, it was a B&B because the next morning they had breakfast ready for us.
Oh, yeah. I would love to talk about Chateau Tenisuo. You know, it is near the medieval town of Parthenay, and Parthenay was lovely. Oh, what a beautiful town! It's not a tiny village. It is an actual city. And I have to say that the cost of living was reasonable in Parthenay for the Californian. I based it on the price of baguettes and the cost to rent a 2-bedroom apartment. And so the baguettes were 40 cents. Well, in the U.S., here in California, they can be over $2. And a 2-bedroom apartment there ran about $500 per month, where in California, it's $1,000. Here in Long Beach, it's $1,600.
Well, here's some good news for you because the dollar is becoming stronger and stronger. There's almost a parity now. We are very closely exceeding the value of the euro, and it's going to be a real opportunity for Americans that want to go to Europe. And because our dollar is now as taking over as far as the basis of all world economies, and so it's going to be a bargain to go to Europe on American dollars. I'm ready
to move to Parthenay. I'm going to rent the house out, move to Parthenay. You've just convinced me. Now is the time.
You're going to work on Ray?
The euro.
You're going to work on Ray?
Yes. Well, I do want to live overseas. Actually, I would like to live in Italy, and I get along very well with the Italians. I understand them quite well because I was raised Italian. I'm Italian, Northern Italian. So, but I don't know. On the other side of the coin, I really do like France. I don't know if they like me, but I do love France.
Well, yeah, but if you lived in Italy, France is an easy commute.
Mm-hmm. And one I should make.
Yes,
would definitely make. So,
yes.
So let's talk about the Chateau Tenisuo. So it's spelled Tennenensus. And again, it's just outside the city of Parthenay. And so we're a family of 3 with Annalisa, who was 12 at the time. And it's a real medieval castle set upon several acres of land with 10 or so fenced-off huge areas, each with something to explore. And Philippa and her husband were our hosts, and they're a British couple, and they raised 3 girls in that romantic medieval setting. Could you imagine just an incredible life to be raised that way? And Philippa, she's so thin. She works it's a farm. It looks like a working farm. She has pigs, and she has a dog, and I don't think she mans the cattle next door. There's cattle and sheep and whatnot all around. Years ago, Philippa and her husband bought this castle, and it was a ruin, and they restored it to near perfect condition. So aside from rebuilding fallen walls, they put a new roof on. That was quite a few. I was going through their picture book. And then they rebuilt the drawbridge, which is a cantilever mechanism, so that we witnessed a child raise the bridge. So it's perfect. A child can. I wrote something. A child can raise the bridge from threat of marauders. So in the event of the threat of marauders, and so so let's talk about our room. The castle. We stayed in the keep, and it has several floors, and you would take a narrow spiral stone staircase and wind our way up to our room, and it was huge. It must have been 35 feet by 35 feet.
Holy
and
cow.
The views were beautiful of the countryside. And it had a large rustic wooden table with chairs, so we could eat in the room if we wanted, and 4-poster bed, and a huge fireplace. It might have been as tall as Ray, or 6 feet, and so. And I think she had, if I recall, she had some armor in there, knight's armor. Because, knights, I think that castle actually was built in 1400. They're not sure, it's so old, but probably about 1400. So let's talk about the grounds. The castle has a moat where Felipa keeps a rowboat for anyone to enjoy, and Annalisa boarded the boat with Felipa's dog, Kappa. I think Kappa is a Labrador Retriever, and Kappa palled around with Annalisa all week. We stayed there for a week. The main yard in front of the house or the castle has an expansive lawn, and next to the castle is a pigsty made of ancient stone with a fruitwood gate, and there were a couple of parent pigs who just had piglets, and so Felipa invited Annalisa to help feed them. Felipa's very nice with the kids. I think you have to be 6 and older to stay there. And beyond that yard is a stone fence that leads to a large, inviting pool that is surrounded by grass. And at the end of the grass, or at the end of the pool, is an ancient stone house that they turned into a pool house. And then if you wander through another gate, you'll find horse stables, brand new horse stables with a riding ring. I believe Felipa had that built for one of her daughters. But right now, or at least in 2012, there were no horses. They moved them to another location. And then if you pass yet through another gate, oh, this is fun. Felipa has a huge trampoline, and it's next to a cow farm. So Annalisa, while she was jumping up and down and doing flips, 40 beautiful brown and white cows would watch her as they'd graze on their food. That was really fun. And it was a perfect place for a trampoline. Great for city kids. And so when you walk through another gate, you come to her vegetable garden that meanders onto a fruit orchard. And so we would pick up fallen fruit and feed it to the pigs. And so it's just a beautiful situation.
It sounds lovely.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it just sounds lovely.
Where did you? You might not remember the name, but what was your castle like?
Oh, it was. We were on our way. Let me see if I can think of where we went to. I'm trying to think of. Shoot, why can't I think of?
While you're thinking, I just want to put this plug in also.
Mm-hmm.
Felipa, she picks vegetables from the garden and fruit, and she makes homemade jam, and she has quite a spread in the morning. It's in this grand room, and the big wooden table, and it's just filled with croissants and good bread and butter and jam and coffee and tea, and it's lovely. And she'll pack a picnic for you for your day trip.
Marnie and I stayed in a number of chateaus, and I can't, for the life of me, I've just gone blank. It's got to be my age or something. But basically, all of the chateaus were just magnificent, and the grounds were magnificent, and always, we didn't have one with a moat running around it so much, but we did have water and streams and trees and the beautiful chateaus, and you get inside. All decorated just magnificently from a different era. And what you saw is a lot of tapestries. Instead of seeing, wallpaper and stuff like that, you saw tapestries, and you saw cloth. Instead of wallpaper, you saw cloth on the walls, and it was just absolutely magnificent. And, most of the ones we went to, when we would get there, it would be early afternoon, and they'd offer us an aperitif. So we would sit down in their foyer and have a cocktail, and then that was usually before we even got to our room. And then they'd show us to our room. We'd get all settled. We'd come back, and believe it or not, they were just talking to the owners and deciding what we wanted to do. And some of them had dinner available. Some of them, it was just breakfast available. And always cocktails available, and people were just tremendously friendly, and it seemed like they really wanted to talk about our lives and the countries that we were from and what we did and what we were interested in and what we liked about France and the area, and the magnificence that, to us, the magnificence that these people became complacent about and lived in, even though I'm sure that they were complemented by the way we reacted to it, I think that they became complacent to their surroundings. They're there all the time. It was just absolutely magnificent.
It is. It's storybook. It is. And, Partenay, I'll spell that for you, Partenay. What a beautiful city. And their church, their medieval church, I believe the architecture was Gothic, just beautiful. And, of course, central. The church was central, high on the hill and, visible from just about everywhere. And we purchased salami, the best salami I ever had, ever, and cheese and bread, and we had a picnic on the bank of a small creek.
Well, isn't it neat that everywhere there are these small villages, and they have these boulangeries, patisseries, and you just go there and you get fresh bread in the morning. You get croissants in the morning.
Oh, the French know how to do it. They're all lined up in the morning to get their bread for the day or a couple of days.
Oh yeah,
you're so right. I'm telling you, that is the way to live.
Yeah, you know what?
It's the way to eat.
You and I agree on that, I'll tell you that. I'd probably weigh 400 pounds if I lived in France.
I don't think so, because you have to do a lot of walking. and the walking is pleasant, because there is, just architecture to feast your eyes on everywhere, and, yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
So...
So what else did you? Where did you use that as a base of operations and kind of go visit places from there, or did you just stay there and relax for a few days?
When my husband vacations, he likes to stay in one place. So we spent a week in Paris, and then we spent a week at this castle, and we used it as the base. And then we went for drives, but we didn't go very far. We liked to stay by the pool, and Annalisa liked to. Annalisa was into gymnastics, so she had a lot of fun on that trampoline, and we enjoyed the cows. Just jumping up and down with cows next to her as the backdrop. That was fun, and we ate good food.
Yeah.
And,
I don't suppose you ate any duck while you were in France, huh?
No,
No? For real? No?
No.
Oh, that's gotta... Oh, geez, they make the best canard anywhere. Canard à l'orange.
We ate at a restaurant named Canard. It was Chinese.
It's interesting. In France, they do love Chinese food. You see Chinese restaurants.
And it's the best Chinese you will ever taste.
Yeah.
See, I spent quite a bit of time in China, so I'm fascinated by it. And
Hey, wait a minute. I got this message from a really important listener. It says, yes, we ate duck. This is from a Mr. Ray Mailer.
Oh, is that my husband?
Okay. I assume that is your husband.
I guess I'm getting old too. I can't remember.
Well, that's a lot better than the alternative.
Well, thank you, Ray.
I want you to take some time and give out some contact information and talk about your website and your Facebook page again.
Sure. Check out www.ifabtravel.com. And the fab is for fabulous, and the I is for technology, because you should be using your smart device when you travel, because it has GPS, it can talk you to your destination, and it just makes your trip more pleasurable. And going forward, I'm going to add more information. I might focus on an app here and there, but check out the Facebook page, and as soon as I hang up here, I will go on and put some information in there about the Castle of Tinnisu. So, well, Robert, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You know what? You're talking about the Loire Valley. You're talking about France. You're talking about Italy. You're talking about, gosh, it just takes me back, and it's almost like I'm there. It was just like a dream,
Well, since you brought up the subject of Chinese food, Robert.
Well, you can deal with that next time, because we are way over here. So
okay. We're going to talk about Shanghai next time.
Okay, so, Shanghai sounds good to me. We'll Shanghai you to China. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Suzette, thank you so much. Well, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the happy birthdays for today, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and Interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 84 degrees. It was 84 degrees about a half hour ago. It's still 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? It is Tuesday, July the 21st, and it's somebody's birthday. And you know what? This person was born in 1899, passed away in 1961. You've all heard of him, a writer and journalist whose many works are now considered classics of American literature. Happy birthday to Ernest Hemingway. And here's one born 1948, a singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, educator, philanthropist, and prominent convert to Islam. Happy birthday to Cat Stevens. And what happened today in history? On July 21st, 1873, at Adair, Iowa, Jesse James and the James Younger Gang pull off the very first successful train robbery in the American West. And in 1969, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin become the first men to walk on the moon. Wow. Can you imagine that? And in 2007, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the final book in the best-selling Harry Potter series is finally released. Well, our quote for today comes from Edmund Burke, and Edmund writes, "Better to be despised for being too anxious in apprehensions than ruined by too confident a security." Well, probably so, I think. Probably so. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teachings for your life. And, every day I tell you it's all about a positive mental attitude. Your positive mental attitude can control your entire day, your week, your month, your year, your life. That's what's going to make things happen. It'll make your life better and the lives of everyone you touch better as well. Now, the teaching for today, simple one. May your heart keep whispering to you and reminding and reassuring you that all is love and that all is very, very well. And if you keep thinking that, you're going to be surprised at the good things that will happen to you. Well, it's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is keep your inbox organized for better focus. Any idea what I'm talking about? You better believe you know what I'm talking about. An overflowing inbox can be a big distraction, whether you're catching up from last week, working through a post-vacation backlog, or just clearing out junk. Taking time to organize your email will help you work more efficiently. Start by sorting your emails by sender. This will help you delete the messages that you no longer need and the ones that you have already responded to. Organize the rest of your messages into 3 folders. Follow up, where you'll file the messages that you need more time than a few minutes to respond to. Then hold for messages that refer to an event in the future. And then, like an invitation, an archive for those messages you've responded to and want to keep a record of. Now, going forward, move new messages in these categories into the matching folder. Respond, then get rid of everything else. That is really what you got to do. Now, time for those interesting but useless facts. I'm getting to where I like this section more and more and more all the time. Did you know that most people button their shirt upwards? Now think about it. You either button it down or you button it up. Most people button it up. Now, how about this? In 2004, there were about 36 million people in the United States aged 65 or over. Give that some thought. Did you know that the calories burned daily by the sled dogs running in Alaska's annual Iditarod race average about 10,000 calories a day? Wow. And in ancient times, any Japanese who tried to leave his homeland was put to death. Yeah, you were stuck not only in your homeland, but your village in most cases. Did you know the song Happy Birthday to You was originally written by sisters Mildred and Patty Hill as Good Morning to You? The words were changed, and it was published in 1935. And who doesn't know that song? Yeah. Did you know that some lions mate over 50 times a day? Holy cow. I guess somebody's got to do it, huh? Jesus criminy. 50 times a day. Did you know that 40% of women have hurled footwear at a man? Let's go back to the lions. How about this? In 1992, the best-selling American-produced car in Japan was the Honda Accord. It was built in Ohio and exported to Japan. Give that one some thought. And then, on average, cows poop 16 times a day. Must have something to do with the number of stomachs they have. Yeah, think about it. Did you know the Parker Brothers prints about $50 billion worth of monopoly money a year? That's a big economy, monopoly. How about this one? Until the year 1920, Canada was planning on invading the United States. Now, that would have been interesting. No chance after that. And how about this? Bluebirds cannot see the color blue. How the heck do they know that? Give me a break. That mean they can't see their neighbors and their mates? I have no idea what the heck they're talking about. Did you know that ants never sleep? Yeah, that makes sense. Never thought about it, but that makes sense. And then finally, in California, no vehicle without a driver may exceed 60 miles per hour, and it's a law. Leave it to the Californians. Good God Almighty. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. My first one comes from Jonah Avina from Saratoga, California, and Jonah's got a home sale problem. We'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. It's not going down. Still 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire, and it's time for me to answer your emails. Just want to remind you that, some of the information you send us is sometimes just a little bit sketchy. And so we do the best we can to answer your questions as comprehensively as we can. But we always recommend that you talk to a licensed professional in your area. They're going to interview you, gather all the necessary data, and give you a good, thorough answer to your question. The other nice part is, one of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance. So if they make a mistake with what they tell you and you do what they tell you, you don't have to worry about sleeping at night. You don't have to worry about somebody ringing your doorbell, knocking on your door, sending you a registered letter, or tapping you on the shoulder, because that person is going to be responsible for it, and they're going to have to pay the piper. Now, my first email came from Jonah Avina from Saratoga, California. He's got a home sale problem, and he says, I sold a residence that qualifies for tax-free gain, but the sales agent issued a 1099 reporting the sale amount to the IRS. If I include it in gross income, then even after deducting the tax-free amount from it, my adjusted gross income will go so high that I'll lose many of the deductions. What can I do? Well, here's the thing, Jonah. When you sell a home that you owned and used as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years, up to $250,000 a gain on that sale is tax-free, $500,000 if it's on a joint return. Now, this amount is simply not reported on your return at all. So you don't have the problem that you described. You don't have to report that 1099 anywhere on your return as long as none of it is taxable. Now, if part of the gain is taxable, only that taxable portion is included in your gross income. Just put a little note in there so the IRS knows exactly what's going on. You'll be just fine. Next email comes from Micah Alonzo from Lansing, Michigan, asking about donating a house. Says, I've owned a house as an investment property for several years. It's declined in value, and I wonder if I can do better by donating it to a charity instead of selling it. Well, Micah, if you want to make a charitable donation, sell the house first and donate the sales proceeds. If you donate it to charity, you'll receive a charity deduction only for its market value, which has a cash value equal to the amount of the deduction times your marginal tax rate, and no loss deduction. So let me give you an example of that. If the house that cost $150,000 is worth $100,000, and you're in the top 35% tax bracket, a sale nets $100,000 cash plus a $50,000 capital loss deduction. That's deductible either in the current year or in subsequent years, depending on other capital gains transactions that you might have. But a donation obtains just the $100,000 charity deduction worth only about $35,000 cash, subject to adjusted gross income limitations. So you want to take a real good, strong look at this. Next email comes from Natalie Bicharet from Chula Vista, California, asking about earnest money and taxes, and writes, if a person deposits earnest money on the purchase of a house, then backs out of the deal and forfeits the money, is the loss deductible, and is the money taxable income to the seller? Well, Natalie, it's a good question, and the answer is this. Whether or not the lost earnest money is deductible depends on the intent behind the purchase agreement. Now, if the house was to be purchased to be used as a personal residence, the loss is a personal loss and is not deductible to you. But if it's used as an investment or business property, then the loss can be deducted as an investment or business loss. Now, the purchase money kept by the seller is taxable income to the seller. So hopefully that answers your question. My next email comes from Allison Bradbard from Skokie, Illinois, asking about an IRA conversion, and says, I'd like to convert my traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, but am over the $100,000 income limit for doing so. However, if my husband and I file separate returns, it will put me under the limit. Will this work? Well, Allison, unfortunately, no, that's not going to work. A taxpayer who files married filing separately instead of jointly is not eligible to convert a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. So kind of keep that in mind. It's not going to be a good deal for you, no matter what happens with that, unfortunately. Now, I want to remind everybody, and I want to thank everybody for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every single Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer with his series, The American Grid. And my special guest, Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. He's going to be talking about what's new in the wireless world, and he's always got a lot of new things coming up. It's amazing how many things are going on between all the wireless people. You've got to have an expert like Joel to know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. That's the man. That's our go-to man. I'm going to call him. That's our go-to man. Now, I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay happy, stay safe, and you know what? Good night, everybody.